Admiral Zexathera had seen many species crumble before the might of the hegemony's third fleet. The elongated crest atop her reptilian head flared with satisfaction as she studied the tactical display aboard her flagship, Inevitable Conquest. Spread across the void before them hung the human homeworld, a blue marble that would soon join the countless others under hegemony rule. "Admiral," her communications officer hissed, his forked tongue tasting the recycled air nervously. "The humans are responding to our ultimatum." Zexathara's vertical pupils narrowed. 3 standard cycles ago, the hegemony had delivered their standard terms: unconditional surrender within 72 hours, or face complete annihilation. Every species had either capitulated immediately or been reduced to stellar dust within days. The humans had done neither. "Transfer it to my personal screen," she commanded, settling her bulk into the command throne. The face that appeared was unremarkable by human standards, middle-aged with graying hair and tired eyes. Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force wore a simple uniform devoid of the gaudy decorations that lesser species used to compensate for their inadequacies. "Admiral Zexathara," Chen began, her voice steady, "I've reviewed your ultimatum. I'm afraid we must decline." A ripple of shocked silence swept across the bridge. Zexathara's crest flattened against her skull in surprise. In 300 years of conquest, no species had simply said no to the hegemony. "Perhaps you misunderstand your situation," Zexathara replied, gesturing to her tactical officer. The holographic display updated, showing the massive fleet surrounding Earth: 12 dreadnoughts, 47 heavy cruisers, and over 200 support vessels. "You face the combined might of the Third Fleet. Your world has perhaps 50 functional warships. Surrender now and your species will serve the hegemony with honor." Chen's expression didn't change. "I understand perfectly. You have an impressive fleet, Admiral, but you seem to have misunderstood something fundamental about humanity." "And what might that be?" "We don't bluff." The transmission ended abruptly. Zexathara stared at the blank screen, her tail twitching with agitation. She had expected pleading, negotiation attempts, or the desperate bravado that preceded inevitable capitulation. This calm certainty was unsettling. "Scan their defensive positions again," she ordered. The sensor officer's data appeared on the main display. Earth's orbital platforms were indeed modest. Mining stations hastily converted to weapon platforms, a handful of aging space docks, and those 50 ships Chen had mentioned. By any rational analysis, the humans were hopelessly outgunned. "Admiral," her intelligence officer interjected, "I've been monitoring human communications. They're not evacuating their cities or moving their leadership to bunkers. Their civilian shipping continues normal operations. Either they're completely insane or what? Or they know something we don't." Zexathera's combat implants began analyzing potential threats. Could the humans have hidden weapons? Cloaked fleets? Alliance treaties with other species? Her scan showed nothing. Yet something about Chen's absolute confidence gnawed at her tactical instincts. "Time to weapons range?" 6 hours, Admiral. Maintain course, but double our sensor sweeps. I want to know what these humans think they're hiding." The hours passed with mounting tension. Zexathara had fought pirates, rebels, and desperate last stands before. There was always some telltale sign: frantic preparations, panicked communications, or the hollow bravado of the doomed. The humans displayed none of this. Their ships maintained patrol routes. Their cities continued their daily rhythms. It was as if they genuinely didn't fear the approaching fleet. At 1 hour to weapons range, another transmission arrived. "Admiral Zexathara." Chen appeared again, now speaking from what appeared to be a command center. "I wanted to give you one final opportunity to withdraw your fleet." The audacity nearly made Zexathara laugh. "You believe 50 ships can stand against my armada?" "Not 50 ships, Admiral. One ship?" Zexathara's crest rose in amusement. "Have you selected your champion, then? Some mighty dreadnought to face us in single combat?" Chen's smile was thin and entirely without humor, in a manner of speaking. "Computer patch Admiral Zexathara into the Damocles project feed." The display changed, showing what appeared to be an empty patch of space near Earth's moon. Then the view pulled back and back and back until Zexathara realized she was looking at something impossible. The object was roughly cylindrical, nearly 800 kilometers long and 200 wide. But it wasn't a ship. It was clearly artificial. built rather than grown like hegemony vessels. Strange geometric patterns covered its hull, and energy readings that made no sense flickered across her sensor displays. "What is that thing?" Zexathara whispered. "Humanity's first and only planet killer," Chen replied matter-of-factly. "We call her Damocles. She's been in development for the past 50 years, ever since we realized we weren't alone in the universe. We figured eventually someone would show up who thought conquest was easier than cooperation." Zexathara's combat computer was screaming warnings now. The energy signatures were unlike anything in hegemony databases. Whatever that weapon was, it operated on principles her species didn't understand. "You're bluffing," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. "Admiral, I told you, humans don't bluff. Damocles is targeted at your homeworld. One signal from me and she fires. The journey time to your system is approximately 47 hours. Your fleet is exactly 49 hours from home at maximum burn." The bridge fell silent. Zexathara's tactical mind raced through the implications. If this weapon existed, if it could do what Chen claimed, the hegemony had built its empire on overwhelming force and the certainty that resistance was futile. But mutually assured destruction changed everything. "How do I know this isn't some elaborate deception?" Chen touched something off-screen. The massive construct began to rotate, revealing massive focusing arrays and power systems that boggled the mind. "Because, Admiral, we learned something important about ourselves during our brief but violent history. When we're truly threatened, when our backs are against the wall, we don't just fight to win. We fight to ensure that if we fall, we take our enemies with us." "You would destroy an entire world over one planet? To protect our freedom? To ensure our children grow up free rather than as slaves?" Chen's eyes were cold as vacuum. "Admiral, we would destroy 1,000 worlds. We would crack every planet in your empire before we'd submit to you." Zexathara stared at the human woman and realized she was looking into the face of something her species had never encountered, people who would choose extinction over subjugation. Every instinct screamed that this was madness, but her tactical computer was running probability analyses that made her blood run cold. The humans weren't bluffing. They never bluffed. "Signal the fleet," she said quietly. "We're returning to hegemony space." "Admiral?" her first officer questioned. "There will be other worlds to conquer," Zexathara replied, but her eyes remained fixed on the impossible weapon humanity had built. Worlds whose people value survival over freedom. As the Third Fleet began its withdrawal, Admiral Chen's final transmission reached them. "Admiral, should you or any other hegemony fleet approach human space again, remember this day. Remember that humans don't bluff. We prepare, we adapt, and we endure." Zexathara watched Earth dwindle in the rear displays and knew she was carrying more than a retreat order back to the Hegemony Council. She was carrying the knowledge that somewhere in the galaxy was a species that couldn't be intimidated, couldn't be conquered, and couldn't be trusted to choose the rational option of survival over principle. The humans, she realized, were the most dangerous species in the galaxy, precisely because they were absolutely, completely serious about everything they threatened to do, and they never ever bluffed.